Have you ever noticed that life is very rarely only good or only bad? It's oftentimes this mixture of some good and some bad, some things we're celebrating and some things we're lamenting. I can remember my youngest son Reed had just been born. We were still in the hospital and my mom made her way up to that room on my dad's arm. She was really sick and we propped her up on the couch and we handed her my newborn son Reed. And I can remember her sitting on this couch. We didn't know how much longer she'd have with us. She was really sick. And my son was just this beautiful newborn baby. And that shot, that scene is just sort of seared in my mind as this picture of what it means to be human. We have a lot of valleys that are really low and really dark and really difficult, and we have a lot of hills that are bright and shiny and good, and we celebrate them, and then we have a lot of this in between, or a little bit of both. And I don't know, if you're anything like me, it can be hard to sort of understand it. It can be hard to tease out how we're supposed to respond in those situations. Well, the scriptures give us this really great guide for the hills and valleys of life. His name is Elijah. Elijah was one of the great prophets of God, but he wasn't a prophet that had it all together. I mean, his story starts out in the desert, in the wilderness, and from there he goes to he meets this woman and he miraculously heals her son. And from there he goes and he battles the prophets of Baal and he wins. He calls down fire from heaven and it's this like massive victory. And then he goes and he runs for his life because he's so scared. And he wrestles in this season with depression, wondering where God is. And then he hears God's voice in the whisper. I mean, his life is a roller coaster. Really high highs, really low lows, and a lot of in-betweens. And I read his story recently and thought, this is a guy I can relate to. I mean, he doesn't have it all together. Sometimes he sees God move mightily, and sometimes he wonders where the heck God is. Well, starting October 7th, we're going to take a journey as a community through his life, through the hills and valleys of the prophet Elijah. I hope you can join us, because if you're anything like me and you're anything like Elijah, life is full of hills and valleys and in-betweens. And in this series, we're going to learn how to have a steady spirit in a world of uncertainty. I hope you'll join us.